Good morning, MCCDC. I'm reading from Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 1 to 10. The Lord's power came over me, and while I was in the Lord's Spirit, the Lord led me out and set me down in the middle of a certain valley. It was full of bones. I saw that there were a great many of them on the valley floor, and they were very dry. The Lord asked me, "Human one, can these bones live again?" I said, "Lord God, only you know." The vine said to me, "Prophesy over these bones, and say to them, dry bones, hear the Lord's word. The Lord God proclaims to these bones, I am about to put breath in you, and you will live again. I will put thews on you, place flesh on you, and cover you with skin. When I put breath in you and you come to life, you will know that I am the Lord." I prophesied just as I was commanded. There was a great noise as I was prophesying, then a great quaking, and the bones came together, bone by bone. When I looked, suddenly there were ligaments on them. The flesh appeared, and then they were covered over with skin. But there was still no breath in them. The Lord said to me, "Prophesy to the breath. Prophesy, human one. Say to the breath, the Lord God proclaims, come from the four winds. Breathe. Breathe into these dead bodies and let them live." I prophesied just as the Lord commanded me. When the breath entered them, they came to life and stood on their feet, an extraordinary large company. The next reading is from John 11, various verses. A certain man, Lazarus, was ill. He was born from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. The sisters sent word to Jesus, saying, "Lord, the one whom you love is ill." Jesus loved Martha, her sister, and Lazarus. When he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed where he was. After 2 days, he said to his disciples, "Let's return to Judea." The disciples replied, "Rabbi, the Jewish opposition wants to stone you, but you want to go back?" Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus has died. For your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there so that you can believe. Let's go to him." When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, while Mary remained in the house. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Even now I know that whatever you ask God, God will give you." Jesus told her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha replied, "I know that he will rise in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live, even though they die. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She replied, "Yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Christ, God's child, the one who is sent into the world." After she said this, she went and spoke privately to her sister Mary. "The teacher is here. He's calling for you." When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to Jesus. When Mary arrived where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." When Jesus saw her crying and the Jews who had come with her crying also, he was deeply disturbed and troubled. He asked, "Where have you laid him?" They replied, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to cry. Jesus was deeply disturbed again when he came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone covered the entrance. Jesus said, "Remove the stone." Martha said, "Lord, he's been dead for 4 days." Jesus replied, "Didn't I tell you that if you believe, you will see God's glory?" So they removed the stone. Jesus looked up and said, Creator, thank you for hearing me. I know you always hear me. I say this for the benefit of the crowd standing here so that they will believe that you sent me. Having said this, Jesus shouted with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, his feet bound and his hands tied, and his face covered with a cloth. Jesus said to them, Unbind him and let him go. This ends our reading. May the Lord add a blessing to the hearers and doers of his words. Thank you for letting me be of service.